Sorry, I've not started my video recording. Let me quickly do that now. Now, so the front end of it is where those guys are inputting the information and all that. Let me now give you a very good example also. Most of us, we are Facebook users, right? You realize that immediately you enter, you get to your Facebook, the first thing you do is you register your name, your location, everything about you on Facebook, and thereafter you have your username and password. Now, the question I want to ask is, by the time you want to send a message to someone, do you need to type your name again? Do you need to type your first name and last name again? I need a response, please. Somebody should just give me a response just to know that we are together. If you are to send a message to me on Facebook, do you need somewhere to type your name so that we know you are the one again?
No, no, sir.
Now, that is where database comes in. Your name and your first name, your last name, your profile, so to say, you have them already in the database. So immediately you are sending a message, what you are simply doing with that message is that your user ID goes along with the message. And with your user ID, Facebook can simply just call out your first name and your last name. So that is the work of database management system. And we are building a similar structure for an hospital. And this is what we'll be looking at very, very briefly. And I want us to just pay a very good attention to this. Now, I know we have quite a number of people on this live, but when I check my YouTube, I realize that I have over 70 people going to download the video there and watch. So I don't know, maybe they have a tight schedule or whatever the case may be. But I must tell you, it's always good you are here. So if you have any question or something, you can ask. So the first thing is, let's understand what we want to do. So we simply want to create a system whereby we can monitor our patients in the hospital, whereby we can have a record of our patients, we can have our staff record, our doctor record, different departments within the hospital, and also to look into patient appointments on time based on their visits to the hospital at every point in time. These are all the information we'll be getting from this hospital database management system. Moving away from that, the next thing we also need to do is specific users requirements. What are the requirements that are needed for us to build this system? As I have here, I said for our hospital database, staff are the users, and below are some of the tasks they will be performing. So basically, the people using this database system we want to build are staff. When you get to hospital, who are the people taking your information? All of them are all staff. However, if we really want to do this work, probably want to build an upgrade system from the one against the one that they have in the hospital. We can build it in such a way that both the hospital staff and patients can have access to it, whereby patients can see their medical record on timely basis. Probably maybe medical line, that is not the order of the day there. That's why we don't have such system. So basically, our users are staffs, doctor, pharmacists, the record keeping people, the nurses and all that. Those are our users majorly. And what are the tasks they will be doing? Patient registration, patient checkout, generation of patient information report, availability of bed space, storage of mandatory patient information, and updating patient information. These are all the tasks our database will be performing, and the people to do all these things, they are our users. Now, another thing you also need to do, mind you, all these steps are very, very important anytime you are creating a database management system. The next thing you need to do also is business rule. Every business has a rule, and there must be a pattern at which each business runs. If this is not well stated at this stage, we may be running into error later on. So that's why we need to have a clear understanding of what we really want to do. Now, the first thing is that hospital table should be the main tables for hospital management. Now, this database we are creating, are we creating it for a particular hospital, or we want to create a system whereby more than one hospital can use? So once it's just your own hospital, you know it's your hospital that is using this at every point in time. So these are what we want to look into. But for the one we want to do now, we want to create a situation whereby more than one hospital can use. Just see yourself as a developer, that you are developing a software and you are just selling to multiple people. So more than one person can use it. So if your hospital need it, just pay me money, have access to it, register your hospital and start using. Hospital B can also register their hospital and they will start using it. So it's not like you build one for one hospital and you build another one for another hospital. No, it's a system whereby we want to build and any hospital can use at every point in time. The next information here is that it said date column is in the appointment table must be in this format. In another word, we don't want a situation whereby we will type day before month for a particular instance. The next instance again, we will now type month before day. So with that, our data will be very, very rough and we will not be able to get the right information we need. So from the onset, this has been divided. This is how they want it. And another information is that, okay, invoice table and prescription must be in, they must be in dollar. They must be in dollar. So these are all basic decisions that we are making from the beginning. For you, you may think of every other thing that you know must be static throughout this process, and so that you will not be having issue at the long run. These are all what you need to know from the beginning, and it's very, very important. Other informations that, other rules that are also needed are the one listed here also. Date column cannot contain null. You must ensure that your date column will not accept null value. Do you know what we mean by null value? Is, for example, if you are filling in an information and you get to a point, a particular column, for those of us that have been filling form online, you discover that there are some column that they will tell you it must not be blank. It must not be blank. So that is what we are saying here. Any blank column that you submit, accept the value as null. So we have to define our date column so that it can never be null, because it's a very, very vital information that will be needed in our analysis. The next thing is that each hospital must have a unique identification. You need to have that understanding also. Each hospital has several departments which must be identified with a unique identification. So our hospital can have many departments. Hospital A, for example, may just have 2 departments, maybe pharmacist unit and let's say another unit, X-ray unit. Fine for that hospital. Hospital B can have more than that. So these are all basic understanding that we want to have as we go ahead to develop a database system for an hospital. So let's have all this at the back of our mind. Any system you are creating, be it school portal, after this, I may just take time to share with you the school portal I created. These are all processes I followed. These are all the process I followed. So you need to understand all these things. Have a very detailed understanding of what you want to do. Look at what we have here. A hospital has departments according to medical needs. That's based on them. And so many things. A doctor can be assigned to multiple patients. That is, when a doctor is linked to a patient, a doctor can have more than one patient at the same time. And we now said a patient may schedule an appointment to see to be seen by a doctor. A patient can book for an appointment. So these are all information that we have to have at the back of our mind, and so many other things that we'll be looking into. So what I want to say is that it just depends on the system you are building. Just have it at the back of your mind. Look at another information. If admitted, a patient will be assigned only to one room. These are all stuff we will be seeing by the time we are building this system. These are all stuff we will be seeing by the time we are building the system. And it will be a very, very interesting one. Very, very interesting one. So that's why I just want you to have it at the back of your mind. Whatever we are doing here is not difficult. Like I mentioned, it's simply English. So anything we are doing, if you are someone that is very serious with this thing, if you go back home and read, just like you read your textbook, you should understand, because they are just English. Forget about coding or query. It's still English. Now, if necessary, a patient may be prescribed medication. So it's not compulsory for a patient to have medication. It's only if necessary. Prescription request will be sent to a pharmacy specified by the patient. So all these are just information we need to know. Now, the next thing is, when you have a system like this, the first thing we then need to do is to look for a way to build a what we call a ERD. ERD means entity relationship diagram. What do you mean by entity relationship? Entity is this table that we have here. Each of these things we are seeing here, they are all table. They are all table. So we are just simply trying to build a kind of graphical representation, or a kind of diagram that will represent our database structure. So that is what we want to, that's what we are doing here. Even before we go ahead to create the database, before we start writing the code or anything, we can have this diagram. This diagram can give us a guide as to, okay, what and what are we writing as a code at the long run. Let us look at this. I think for this system that we have here, the first thing we need to create is an hospital table. Is an hospital table. Now let's look at what we have. Now, if you look at this, this is our hospital. If I'm creating this now, I need to create a table called hospital. I need to create a table called what? Hospital. And what do I need to do? The first thing is hospital ID. So each hospital have their unique ID. So the next thing here is hospital name, hospital address, hospital phone number, state, and zip code. These are all the columns. This is column 1, another column, another column, another column, another column in this particular table. And among all these columns, we have a primary key here, which is called hospital ID. A primary key is simply called a unique identifier. Unique identifier. We need to understand that is a unique identifier. Each hospital have their own primary key. Two hospitals cannot have the same hospital ID. You need to understand this very, very well. So let's get that clearly. Now, the next thing that we also need to do now here is this. Departments. If you look at this table here very, very well, I'm just going to explain this hospital table and this department table using this chart. Now, the first thing you see here is that you know you have an hospital table here, then you have another thing, another table here called department table. In this department table has a primary key called what? Called departments. Called departments. And in this department table also has a column called department name. That one is the name you type. And below it, there is what we call an hospital ID. And this hospital ID here is a foreign key. Is a foreign key. They ought to write FK here. FK ought to be here. So this ID here, hospital ID is a foreign key. And if you look at this relationship, he's saying that one hospital can have many departments. So this relationship is called one to many relationship. Don't be afraid. I know some of us are scared already with all these things I'm saying. They are not abstract. We will begin to understand as we do them gradually. That's why I emphasize that I will just use this as an example. So a single hospital can have many departments. That is why we say one to many. One to many. And if there is non-hospital, there won't be any department. That's why you are seeing is zero here. If there is no hospital, there will not be department. So what we have here is one to many relationship. One hospital can have many departments. So I will just focus on this now. By the time we start building the process, I'll be coming back to this chart to explain what we are doing. Now, let's move on to our Postgres environment. Or before I move on, I know I've laid out on some stuff that are abstracts. Now, I want to ask, do we have anybody confused? Okay, I will assume we are all on the same page there. I will assume we are all on the same page. So what we are simply doing is that we are building this system. We'll be creating each of this table and build this relationship gradually, like that. So let's come to our Postgres environment. The first thing we need to do is we need to create a database. And how do you create a database? Once you open your server like this here, open your Postgres environment. I'm adding some persons as co-host. Please, once you see anybody coming in, just admit them in. So I won't be coming back here to do anything. So now let's move on. When you click on this Postgres 16 or 15, as the case may be for your own, right click on this database, bring your cursor to create it and click on database. Immediately you do this, you can then create a database. So what I will now write is I'll just create a database called hospital. So that's a database I want to create. So the next thing is to click on save. So don't mind this, like I mentioned before, if you click on this again, it said it's already existing. So let's close this. Yes, close it. Let's come here to refresh. Let's refresh again. You can see we have hospital here already. So now, if you come to your schema here now, there is no any table. There is no any table. The table is empty. So this is where we start creating our database management system. The first thing is to create your database, which we have done to create your hospital. The next thing now is to start creating your tables. So let's come here, create. Let us just come to query 2 here. Let's come to query 2 here. Now, what we now need to do is to now start creating our table. Don't forget, the first table we want to create is this, hospital. So let's start that. How do we do that? The code is very simple. You need to just type create table. And what is the name of the table? Hospital. Hospital. Create table hospital. The next thing is open a bracket and close the bracket. Now we can then come here and say the column, the first column we have here is hospital ID. Hospital ID. So let's come here, hospital underscores ID. That is the first column. That is the first column. And ordinarily, we could say we are done with this, but no. We need to then define the column, because number one is a primary key. And how do we want the column to work, so to say? For example, this is a primary key. I may just feel like I want that immediately someone register a particular hospital, it should just be increasing by default. Like if hospital A register, hospital A should have ID 1. Hospital 2 register, hospital 2 should have ID 2. 3 register, hospital 3 should have ID 3. So how do we go about that? We are going to give this column, let me zoom in. This column hospital ID, we are going to give it a data type called serial. Don't forget, what this serial does is that when hospital 1 register, it will automatically give hospital 1 ID 1. Without this, you will not need to insert this. You will see all this as we move on. Let us just continue. Hospital 1, this hospital serial, and because this column is a primary key, you then write primary key in the front. That's why I said we should read up primary key during the week. Primary key is just simply saying that this column is the unique identifier for this table. Is the unique identifier for this table. So it is the only thing we can use to distinguish different hospitals in this table. And 2 hospitals cannot have the same hospital ID. So that is why we have it as a primary key. And the reason why we are using serial as a data type is that we want it to increase as you register by default. Let's continue. What's the column the next column we have? We have hospital name. So just copy this here. Hospital, put name. Hospital name. And the data type we'll be using here, we'll be using a data type called varchar. Don't forget, let me just be plain here. I will delete this. The first thing you have here is column name. I will delete this. I just want to use this as example. When you are creating your table, the first thing is create table this. Mind you, I'm just putting this heading here. It's not like it's part of what we are doing. The next thing you then put is data type. Those are the two major things that we have there. And the next thing is any other information. Let me just put any other information. Additional info, so to say. So now what we are simply saying is that immediately you want to create a table, just write a query pod create table and put the table name. So open a bracket and close like we have here. The first thing is type your column name. The next thing is your data type. For the case of hospital ID, we want something like that will be an auto increment. That's why we are using serial. Now, somebody will now say, why are we using varchar here? We are using varchar because hospital name is a test. The data type for this hospital name is test. That is why we are using this varchar. Varchar is just a kind of data type that allows both test, number, anything. Most especially if you want to write a long sentence or anything, you are free to use varchar. So that's why we are very much safe to use it here. Now we need to define the length. If you are using varchar, you put 10. Once the text you are typing or you are inciting under this column exceeds 10, it will only just take the first letter to the 10th letter and neglect the rest. So for this case, we know some hospital name may be long, we can just put 200, so we know we are safe. So this is the data type for this hospital name. A test data type is what we need for it. And the next thing we can now say is that so far you are creating an hospital and you are having an hospital, the hospital must have an hospital name. So we must state it, we can then state that not null. That is, this column cannot be empty. Not null. So what we are simply saying is that this column cannot be empty. Fine, let's continue with that. The next column we have here is what? Phone number, state, and the rest. So I'm still going to use this varchar for phone number because, like I said, it can take in a phone number. If you want to add your +234 and all that, it will still take it. Let's just put it here. I'll just type phone. I will be deleting all this. I just use it for explanation. It's not part of our code. So just mark this, and if you are watching the video, you can always go back and see the process. So let me just delete this. The next thing we can have also is address. I'll just add address so I know I'm good for this. Phone number cannot be more than, is it 12 or 15? Let's say 15, so to say. So with this, can we continue now can we proceed now? But I will say yes and I will say no. The reason why I will say no is that if you look at this table, this hospital table, right? This hospital table has this primary key is linked up to this department table as foreign key. So we need to define that. Okay, we don't need that here. We'll be working on that in the department table. So I'm just going to do this now. I will do this. Let's run this code to create this table. What's the error here? Okay, this comma is not needed since we are not creating any additional column here. So let's run and see. Fine, our table is in. You know, as we used to check our table before now, let's say select star hospital. Select star from hospital, right? So let's run this particular line of code. What do we have? Can we all see it now? We've successfully created this hospital table. Can we try and insert some data in now? Can we try and create some data in now with our insert function? Or before I proceed to that, let me ask, do we have anyone with question so far? I know it's a new environment. Okay, you are welcome.
Okay. For the not null that you wrote for areas where we have important things. So the function has to be not null. Like it must not like you only use that not null. Like we see when we are filling forms online, they put asterisks, like the sign asterisk there. Does it
Yeah,
mean that this asterisk will also be coming out like in this database?
yes.
Or is there another word we can use aside from the not null?
No. In the database environment, this is the word you use. Like it must not be empty. Now, the reason why you have that asterisk when you are filling form online is that so far the database has already stated that it is not null. If they don't put out that asterisk you are seeing that always call you back that is compulsory. This column is compulsory for you to fill when you want to submit. What is bringing that information in that front end environment most of the time is a JavaScript. And if that JavaScript is not there and you submit that form, this database will return an error to your browser. And that error you will not understand. So that is why a front-end engineer will always use a kind of code in a Java, using Java or CSS word, as the case may be, to just tell you this column is compulsory, even before you'll be able to submit to the database. So the front-end engineer already know that the column has been stated as not null. Are we good with that? So likewise, we could also have a column that we put as none. If you don't type anything, just return none. It's not a problem. But for everything we have there, they are all compulsory. So that is why we have it as it is here. Can we just check example of this. Insert, or let me say, do we still have any other pressing? Because it's a new topic entirely and I want us to relate. If you have anything that is not clear with you, please do ask the question now. Very, very important. And if nobody is talking, I will just assume we can continue. And I believe I've used the simplest term to explain what we are doing. Let's say insert to this hospital now. Insert into hospital. Don't forget, we've created the table and we've tested it with this select and we discovered that the table is empty here, right? So the code now is insert into hospital, just like we have for our this thing. Usually I always like to put it like this: open a bracket and close the bracket. So what you then do now is that all this column, hospital name, put it here, comma, phone, comma, address. I'm not in hurry to create all the table at once. I'm not in hurry at all. But it's just for you to understand what we are doing. If you understand what we are doing very well, I can as well just write all the code to create all the table and send to you. And we can proceed. So that's the major thing, is for you to understand. If you look at this now, the function code here is insert into, and the next thing is our table name. Is simple. This is it. Query, this is our function. Okay, let me just use function. Why this is our table name. Table name. Do we get that now? And here, this is our columns. Can I just okay, don't let me just bother you about that. I'm thinking of just commenting this column, but I don't want to bother us about that. Let's continue with what we have because of our time. If we then come here, you can just copy and paste. You then write what we call values. I usually prefer to tag this here. So once I have the value here, I can now write open bracket and close bracket. So you need to follow this column as they are written here. Now, the first thing is the hospital name. Let's say Saint Mary Hospital. Don't forget, this is our hospital name. The next column is phone number, right? You can now write the phone number 00 something 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 something. That's the phone number. The next thing is address. VI Lagos State. Do we get that? If we want to enter more than one value at a time, you can come here. I may just copy and paste this. What's the name will I give this now? Glorious Hospital. Let's have the phone number or something like this. Let's make it a bit real. The address could be Mokola, Ibadan, or your state. Somebody will say that, sir, why is it that you omit hospital ID? I have told you earlier on. That is the reason why we have Syria. Automatically, this table will give St. Mary Hospital ID 1 and it will automatically give Gloria Hospital ID 2. Can we just run this and see now? Sorry. Okay. Let's run this. All right. We are having an error here. Okay. Would it be that we need this thing here to split? Oh. Ah. Okay, so we have it inserted now. As you can see, the error I made earlier on was that I open a bracket and I close. So if you are inserting, you write your insert code, your column name, and you state all the columns under the table, and you have your value. When you create your value, open a bracket for the first row, for the first data you want to enter, open another bracket. You just separate with a comma, open another bracket for another data you want to enter. If you want to keep on listing more and more hospital, all you need to do is just put a comma and open another bracket and keep on inputting those data. Then you are good. So as it is now, we've inserted two information here. Let's run and see. Can we see now? So we have our hospital ID 1 and 2 and it's not stated here because of this data type that we use here. So automatically it will keep on listing it in serial number. I hope we understand all this now. Now we have two hospitals inserted here. The next thing we can do, probably in the next oh, sorry. I'm disconnected. I just noticed now. No share.
Direct contact.
Sorry, I
Oh,
don't even know that
he has
I
joined.
was. Hello, I don't even know that I was disconnected. Can somebody just
You are
tell
welcome back.
me where I stop so I can continue from there? Hello, please, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Can hear
can.
you.
Can someone just tell me where I stopped so I can continue before I was off?
Since we're about naming the hospital, St. Mary's Hospital.
Okay. I might be able to tell us uh, what was causing the error initially. So in short, this is how to just insert record. Have your insert into, have your table name, and thereafter list all the columns, but excluding this serial one here. If you don't have this as serial, you will also need to list it as part of the column you will enter by default here. But as it is now, you already have this stated that it should be an auto increment, and that is why we are not including it here. So once you do this, just write your value, open a bracket for the first record. Once you are done, put a comma, open another bracket for the next record, and make sure what you are inputting tallies with the column name that you have here. That's what I've just done, and the next thing I did was to highlight this from insert here, and I ran this code. And when I did this, this was what I got. This was what I got. And I was saying, I don't know, maybe you hear me, that you can see without inputting this hospital ID here, you can see it having a value of 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So that is that about that. Now the next thing, I know we are running out of time already, but I need to do this now so we can end on a very good note for today. The next table I'll be creating today is to come here. Let's check this now. Is this department table? And in this department table, we'll realize that we have department ID as the primary key. So also, I will just come here and change this create table to departments. Create table departments. For some of you that are confused, other ones are still there. I'm just creating a new table. Now, the next thing here is, let's start naming the column. The first column here is department ID, and I'm using serial here also as the primary key. The next column there is department name, as we have it here. Now, the third column now is hospital ID. The third column is hospital ID. This is where we need to be very, very careful and see what I'll be doing here now. So the column name is hospital ID, the third column. So I will come here and I will name this as hospital ID. Right now, this data type will no longer be voucher, because our hospital ID here is what? Is number, so it's in integer. So we are going to change that data type name to what we call integer, because it is a number. Hello, I hope we are clear with that. This is basically used mainly when you want to create a column that what you'll be entering into the column is text. But when you are dealing with number, basically, the data type has to be in integer. So let's get that clear. Now, the next important thing we'll be doing here is to indicate we have a foreign key in this table. And the foreign key is this hospital ID. We need to indicate that while creating our table, which is what I'll be doing shortly now. So the next thing you now do is you need to then come here and write foreign key, because we have a foreign key in the table. This is what I'm saying. because we have this as a foreign key here. You can see the relationship from here to here. We have a foreign key here. So we need to create that query to show that foreign key, that's what I'm doing now. Foreign key, just write a function called foreign key. Now open a bracket. What is that column name in the table that is foreign key? It is this hospital ID. So you copy it and put inside that bracket. That is our foreign key. And you now need to show where are you referencing it to. Just type reference. References. Come here. What you then do now is that you will now pick the name of the table. You know, the table you are linking into is hospital table, right? So you come here and pick that table called hospital table. Now put hospital, open a bracket, and put the column name here, inside there. Now, get this straight. Get this straight. This is not static. If I come here, I name this table, I name this ID as hospital number. Hospital number. I can come here and just say that, okay, it's still a foreign key and it's still linking to hospital ID in that table. So I can say, I can type hospital number that, okay, in this table, there is a column called hospital number and it's referencing to hospital ID. Because the reason why this must be hospital ID is that you are simply saying that it's referencing to a table called hospital and to a column in that hospital table called hospital ID. Is this one that you cannot change anyhow? It must be the same as it is here. It must be the same as it is here. So with this, we have created a relationship between this table and that table. Now, there is another thing we can also put in here to make all this update we are doing okay, to make this relationship okay. There is a function called update cascade. I'll be explaining that as we move on in other tables. But today, what I simply want to do is just that I want to create a table that has relationship for us to see. Now, we can then put a function called onUpdate. Hello. With this already, we've created a table that has relationship. But there are some other information we can add to make our relationship more defined, so to say. I will explain this function, update cascade. Now, what this function of this cascade does is that if we come here to update any of this hospital, you know, this was written as St. Mary here. If you now say, it's St. Mary Paul Hospital is the hospital name. We made mistake here. Later on, I will create an update query to just update this to St. Mary Paul. What will happen here is that automatically, if we want to check for the hospital name, it will automatically update to what we have here because of this update cascade here. It would allow that. It will allow you to do that update because of this update cascade here. If not, it will not allow you because the information is already linked with another table. But because of this, it will allow that update in there. And the next thing we want to add now is on delete Don't worry, by tomorrow we'll be using all these things and we'll be seeing how they really works. But for today, just understand what I'm trying to explain. What this does is that because this information, if we had already input this information, for example, we've already input hospital 1 and we input a department for that hospital and a department ID for the hospital in this table now, and you want to come here and delete that hospital here, you say no, because it is already, we have the information in this department table, and it could be a very, very good, important tool also, so that there won't be a need of data loss or as the case may be at any point in time. So let's take this as it is. Tomorrow we'll be going deeper. Let's run this code now. Fine. We have a table called department. So let's check. Sorry for shooting beyond our time. I just feel we should get every information we need to get now. So if we are continuing tomorrow, there won't be any issue. Let's run this and see.
Well, I don't know what says on screen. I'm just seeing S in the screen that you're sharing. I want to just confirm.
Is it the only one?
I can see your screen.
Yes. No, I can see your screen.
Okay, I think it's from your end.
All right. Thank you.
It's not the only one. I can see your screen, but what you are doing presently, that's what he's trying to say. I can't see what you are doing presently too. The only thing I can see is where line 22, it display the hospital ID, hospital name, phone number, and address.
I think to just solve that, I will share and share again, so everybody can be on the same page. So as it is now, we've created a table called department table, and this is what we have here. Now let's do something. Let's quickly insert value in our department table. So if you have this query, right, you don't need to stress yourself to start typing them one by one again. You could copy and just do everything. But for a starter like you, I always recommend type them painstakingly one and one again. So by the time you master them, you may not need to start typing all these things again. So copy, put here, department, and what are the two columns? We have department name and hospital number. Department name and hospital number. Sorry, hospital number. Come here, let's delete this. We don't need the last one there. Let's come here. It's just two columns. So department name, let's say X-ray. X-ray department, and hospital number. I just want to type 3 here. I think somebody should call my attention to something there. Pharmacy. Someone should call my attention to something there. So I am expecting somebody to tell me, because
Yes, number.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
I only have two hospital here, which is hospital 1 and hospital 2. So this may not be accepted here because there is a relationship that is not being respected. Let's check. You can see hospital number 3 is not present in hospital table. Sure, you understand now? So it has violated foreign key constraint. That's why I told you to read about constraint yesterday. So it has violated this foreign key constraint and it could not proceed. So let's just come here and put hospital one, and insert this information. Wrong. Fine, we have it in now. Let's run this code. We have this here. So this is how to build relationship. I've just done this for 2 tables out of how many tables we have here, which is what we'll be building up gradually. Someone raised his hand. Okay, you can speak now. Let me hear from you.
Yes, sir. So I have 2 questions I want to ask.
All
The
right.
first one, you said voucher is for only text,
Yes.
but integer is also for only numbers.
Yes.
So, but like in the first table you were creating for hospital, you put phone as in phone number, then you put voucher 15, and it involved numbers.
Yeah. When you are using voucher accept anything, both text, both number, but it will take them as text. Are you getting it?
Okay.
It will take them
Okay.
this phone number now. You cannot say, we did some function that says sum column. If you should
Yes.
sum this phone number, it will tell you this is a string. You cannot sum it.
Okay.
So just get that. So, but for this, you can do manipulation on it.
Okay, sir.
All
Okay,
right.
sir.
If
My
we
second question.
okay,
My second question was, I didn't actually get what you meant by when you're talking about constraints. That you said you put 3 and 3, and the code did not run.
yeah.
Then you now put 1 and 1.
Let
Then
me
that's when the
explain
code.
that. I will soon be leaving now. I'm not actually on my workstation. I'm elsewhere, and my battery is running down. So I will soon be leaving now. But let me explain what you just asked. The question you ask is that, I was explaining a relationship between this table. That what we are saying is that there must be a relationship between the 2 tables. That is what this is saying. Now, we came here to put hospital number 3. And in our hospital table here, we only have hospital 1 and 2. So what this one is saying is that I can't create any relationship here. There is no hospital 3. So that is where that constraint come in that I told you, like I said, you should read about constraint. That is the constraint, like it could not insert that information because it can't find the relationship. So that's for that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is this video on record?
Yeah, sure. I will definitely put it on YouTube.
Thank
All
you, sir.
right. Well, Osas, can you come up with a question?
Yeah, and thank you very much. So I quickly wanted to ask around, and in an instance where you have existing data, maybe an organization was using manual records and they now want to migrate into using database like what we are doing right now. So how do we then populate a record that has maybe 1,000 patients? And I'm feeling that typing this in will be crazy.
Yeah, if in that case, there are ways whereby once you create this table, right? If you come here, there was no table here before. There was no table here. If you refresh now, these 2 tables we created are here, are already here already. Now, what you then need to do is you can click on this table. You can right click on this table and see this import data. Are you getting it? So what we need to do now is that you need to probably have the data in form of CSV in your Microsoft Excel, right? And make sure that the encoding is UTF-8. You clean the data, you make sure that everything is okay, and you also ensure that the column names tallies exactly with what we have here, and they are also in the same order. Are you getting it? So if you import the data here, it will accept it and it will populate directly. Are you getting that?
Yes, yes. Then how about if we want to also use a code for bulk uploads outside using a template that you just explained?
A
Then
code. I don't think there's any magic to that. I don't think there's any magic to that apart from what I've just explained. If you want to use a code, the code will also be referencing a particular, it will also be referencing a particular file that you have compiled the data, either CSV or Notepad. Are you getting it? So there is no any other shortcut except you want to present it this way, like we have in here. So there's no any shortcut to that. And moreover, I always recommend that you have the data in Microsoft Excel because you need to do a thorough cleaning. When you have an organization that don't have a database, for example, you can see this one is not accepting an hospital because it's not existing. And if you are using a data that is not referenced to a database, ordinarily that hospital number 3 will just enter this data and it will be causing problem at the long run. So you need to make sure that you clean the data, look at it front and back, then upload. So with that, you'll be fine. Do you have any other person with questions and all that? We are already 15 minutes ahead of our agreed time. So I'll be rounding up. The next thing I just want us to see is, let's share this. Look at what I did. Objects, ERD for table. Let me click on this. You'll be seeing something related to that ERD diagram that we have. You can see now for the two tables that we've created, you can see the relationship between this hospital and the department. One to many relationship. One to many relationship. So these are what we'll be doing. By the time we create every other table, automatically this will generate itself. So more and more of this are what we'll be doing as we proceed. I'll take this as the last question. Sunday, you can come up.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, are we the one that will create the template for our database?
I don't understand.
This template that you are showing, the tables,
Yes.
are we the one that will create it before we start
Yes.
creating our DBMS?
Yes. It's because we joined the class late. This was where we
Okay.
started from. Like understanding the concept of what we want to do, the hospital. From there, we move on to users' requirements. What is expected for you to be able to have access to the database and all that. We talked about the business rule. What are the rules that we want to have? And if you can see, we said department table should be the next important table, so that department table contains hospital ID foreign key, which is primary key in this. Sure, you understand? So these are all those things I'm mentioning there have been discussed earlier on in our business rule. Okay? We've discussed everything in our business. So any database you want to create, you are the one to look into the problem. When you look into the problem, you know what are the tables you need and how would you link up these tables together to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So it's your duty to do that. Time will not permit me in this last week. Maybe we can, after this boot camp, we organize a special boot camp on form normalization. It's a very, very special topic on its own. So on this note, we'll be calling it a day to day, and I hope we have learned something very, very important. So what is expected of you is that I sent you all these slides. I will be sharing this video with you. I want you to create exactly what I have created now. These two things that you have here, I want you to create it and share it on your LinkedIn. And if possible, you tag me, like you're in the process of creating hospital management system and all that. I think maybe I will invite Paul to discuss about LinkedIn optimization with us. Whatever you know and nobody knows you know it is useless. So let us publicize what we know for people to know what we are learning also. So I will not be sending you this code. I will save it, right? I'm going to save it, but I will not be sending it to you now. I will not be sending it to you now. I want you to create your own
Create your
based
own.
on what you have learned tonight, and share with me if possible first. Then you can go ahead on LinkedIn, share with everyone. Okay, we are in the process of creating an hospital database management system. So see you all tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Pleasure seeing you on board tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you very much.